The San Antonio Spurs have been a real juggernaut in the Western Conference. 61-19 record. That's good for the second seed. They are on the younger side of the scale, but this team has shown maturity with how they carry themselves as a roster, sweeping the season series against the OKC Thunder, having young players in Harper, Castle, Bryant, Champagnie excel in their roles as young core pieces, weapons in Vassell, Johnson, Cornette, Fox, having the alien in Wemby rising up as an MVP candidate, dominating both ends of the floor. All these contributing factors have elevated the Spurs to title contention. The brilliance of Wemby is remarkable, and he's putting the NBA on notice. His impact contributes to high success for the San Antonio Spurs. Offensively, he's diversifying his shot diet. Last season, Wemby attempted 8 3-pointers a game, shot 35%. This season, he's attempting 5 3-pointers, shooting 35%. And with Wemby attempting less 3-pointers, he's finding other areas on the court to be a threat for himself or his teammates. The Spurs are more intentional about placing Wemby closer to the baskets, positioning him around the elbow or the free throw line, maybe a screen action underneath the basket. Now Wemby's catching the ball in the mid post. He makes a quick move and now he's attacking the rim. Wemby's making it more of a priority of attacking the basket and taking advantage of when teams decide to switch a smaller player onto Victor Wembanyama. If you go back to that game against the Warriors where Wemby scored 41 points, there was possessions where Brandon Pajensky sadly got switched onto Victor Wembanyama. Victor didn't waste the time. He took Brandon Pajensky to the basket on almost every single possession. In that same game, the Warriors decide to throw a zone at the San Antonio Spurs, and Wemby caught the ball on the right elbow, and he's seeing different bodies around him, but he can just take one dribble and he's already at the rim, and he can just lunge over the defense and finish over the top of them. In the fourth quarter of that Nuggets game, Jamal Murray switched on to Victor Wembanyama in a couple of possessions, and Wemby decided to put it on the floor and just drive past Jamal Murray to attack the rim. He took Jamal Murray near the basket, and all Stephon Castle has to do is just throw the ball at the rim, and Wemby can finish the rest of the play. If you compare last year's stats and this year's stats, Wemby is averaging the same amount of points, 24 points per game, but I promise you this season he's a better offensive player. He is getting more physical, he's initiating the contact, he's playing through the contact. Defensively, he has the DPOY award on lock. All he has to do is literally play 20 minutes within the next 2 games for the San Antonio Spurs. He might even win the award unanimously. In the 1,600 minutes of Wemby on the court, the San Antonio Spurs have an offensive rating of 123, a defensive rating of 106. That's a plus 16 net rating. And the 1,600 minutes he's off the court, the offense goes down to a 119. The defense is a 116 plus 3.2 net rating. Victor Wembanyama is the best individual defensive scheme in the NBA. If an opposing team decides to play a non-shooter, Wemby will take on that assignment, and that keeps him closer to the basket. If the Spurs are going up against a team that likes to score a lot of points in the paint, all Mitch Johnson has to do is park Wemby inside the painted area. He can blow up your offensive game, he can switch, he can recover, he can play that cat and mouse game in the pick and roll. He forces you to have self-doubt as an offensive player. If you're a great transition team, 9 times out of 10, Wemby is going to run the floor and get back on defense, and then you're constantly wondering where the hell is this 7-foot demigod lurking on the basketball court. He's a great help defender, can come from the weak side, can play a roaming position. Wemby is just a fantastic defensive player. And at the age of 22, he's one of the most feared players in the NBA. What makes Wemby even more lethal is having guards who can push the tempo, give a great effort defensively, facilitate, get inside the paint, and do much more. The trio of Fox, Harper, and Castle have been amazing to watch throughout the season. When the Spurs have 2 out of 3 guards on the court together, the production is positive. In the 465 minutes of De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper sharing the court, they have a plus 9 net rating. When it's De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle in 920 minutes, a plus 8 net rating. And then when it's Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper in 471 minutes, they have a plus 12 net rating. Now, obviously, you won't play all 3 guards together because the play style gets a little repetitive. But having 3 guards who can get 2 feet inside the paint, initiate offense, put pressure on the rim, break opposing teams' defenses, and play alongside Victor Wembanyama, it's almost the perfect fit. From my point of view, Dylan Harper is the better catch and shoot player from beyond the perimeter, meaning he can play off ball, play in the corner, play on the wing, and be a relief when De'Aaron Fox or Stephon Castle's getting downhill, collapsing the defense, and then they kick it out to Dylan Harper, who's been shooting the three ball a lot better since post All-Star break. He's also very, very dangerous on that baseline. He's really mastered maneuvering on that baseline, keeping himself within bounds, and then finding somebody in the corner, or maybe doing a Nash dribble underneath the basket. Now the defense is panicking because they have a great player who can score at the rim inside the painted area. Now Dylan Harper's finding Keldon Johnson for a slot cut, or he's finding Luke Cornett or Wemby in the dunker spot. So I love how much Dylan Harper has progressed throughout the season. For De'Aaron Fox, his perimeter scoring, left-handed attacks, receiving handoffs, now he can play one-on-one or find Victor Wembanyama or Luke Cornett rolling to the basket. Lethal option in transition with his speed and athleticism. He got the float game, he can shoot the mid-range. He's also a player that you can trust in crunch time. And then Stephon Castle takes on the opposing team's best perimeter player. Unless you're Nikola Jokic or Joel Embiid, Victor Wembanyama will take those assignments. But other than that, Stephon Castle is going to guard the Jalen Brunsons, the Cade Cunninghams, the Tyrese Maxeys, the Kevin Durant's, the Senguns. He is going to guard whoever it takes to get a win for the San Antonio Spurs. In my opinion, he should make an all-defensive team. He's been one of the best point-of-attack defenders in the NBA. Stephon Castle is one of my favorite pick-and-roll players. In that win a couple of days ago against the 76ers, anytime Stephon Castle turned that corner, he's so great with closing the distance very quickly because Joel Embiid was in drop coverage, but since Stephon Castle can close that distance, now Joel Embiid has to play Stephon Castle one-on-one, and Embiid is completely forgetting about Luke Cornett getting beneath him on the roll, and now Stephon Castle is able to throw the ball at the rim, and Luke Cornett can throw it down with the lob finish. Stephon Castle is having the best sophomore season. Anytime I get the chance to observe Stephon Castle playing, I get the mixture of Drew Holiday and Chris Paul. San Antonio has a legit ceiling of winning an NBA championship, but the lack of playoff experience can hold them back in a 7-game series. There is inconsistent playoff experience when observing this Spurs roster. Obviously, Luke Cornett has a championship and Harrison Barnes has a championship as well, but those two players are not going to be on the court finishing games in a 7-game series in the postseason, meaning the Spurs will have to rely on Victor Wembanyama, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Julian Champagnie, Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper. Obviously, De'Aaron Fox has that one playoff series against the Golden State Warriors 2-3 years ago, but for the majority of the Spurs roster, they don't have playoff experience. Even Mitch Johnson, he might have playoff experience as an assistant coach, but as a head coach, he doesn't have playoff experience. It's very rare that we see a team not make the postseason the previous year, but then the following year, they win 60 games and they're a legit title contending team. The Spurs are a threat to win the NBA championship. Last time they were a 60-win team was back in 2017 when Kawhi Leonard was the face of the Spurs franchise. Now you have a new face in Victor Wembanyama who is looking to lead the charge of creating a new dynasty in the near future for the San Antonio Spurs, and that starts with winning an NBA championship at the end of the postseason.